Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now January 15th of 2022, and ever since the very end of The Mandalorian Season 2 and The Bad Batch, a lot of Star Wars fans around the world have been very intrigued about the future of the Star Wars universe by George, John, and Dave, and exactly what they have in store for the new Star Wars universe when it comes to combining legends, and of course what already exists under the Disney canon. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, I am on Twitter at Mike01 if you guys want to go ahead and give me a follow on there. I do post a couple of entertaining things from time to time and really make sure to interact with you guys further. So we're now in a very interesting phase of Star Wars. We are approaching the Book of Boba Fett Chapter 4. I know that a lot of people had mixed reactions on the Book of Boba Fett Chapter 3, The Streets of Mos Espa. There's a lot of people out there that had a lot of mixed thoughts on all of that. I would like to hear your thoughts about that, by the way, below in the comments. But moving forward past all of this, we already know that John and Dave really have their hands full on working on The Mandalorian Season 3 and other Star Wars TV shows out there like the Acolyte TV series, or should I say the Ahsoka Tano series, and how the Acolyte series is the one show that's having a lot of problems behind the scenes by Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy and, of course, writer Leslie Headland. So by far the most anticipated TV show for this year, without a doubt, is the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series with Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen. 2023's most anticipated show, without a doubt, is going to be the Ahsoka Tano series. And you know what? I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that it's all related to the Force, the Jedi, and some of our beloved characters from either animated TV shows or the prequel trilogy movies. So, beyond all of that, what's really intriguing has everything to do with what's going on behind the scenes with, of course, Kathleen Kennedy and what she recently did that is going to truly be controversial within the Star Wars fandom. So, the Ahsoka Tano series is now set to begin filming by this April by John and Dave. That is going to evolve the Star Wars brand like no other project before. However, many other developments are happening behind the scenes over at Lucasfilm. Now, it's explained that recently Kathleen Kennedy made one of the worst decisions for the Star Wars franchise. It's noted that this involves one of the Star Wars projects known as the Acolyte series that is going to unveil new secrets and revelations about the Force and the Cosmic Force as well. Kathleen Kennedy has recently gone out of her way to implement something that will instantly be labeled as controversial within the Star Wars fandom and could certainly spawn a massive backlash from the entire fandom, similar to The Last Jedi's, if not even bigger. As of recently, Kathleen Kennedy is pushing to rename the Force in the Acolyte TV series and give the branding of the Force an entirely new name in the Acolyte TV show. Now, since Kennedy will be diving into the origin of the Force and the Cosmic Force with Leslie Headland, it's described that one key focus is that Kathleen Kennedy is set to have Leslie Headland introduce ancient lore in the universe that is going to give a brand new name to the Force entirely. Now, let me just stop right here. I think that this, once again, is a terrible move by Kathleen Kennedy. I don't know why somebody, would even want to push forward with something like this, because you have to know better. I feel like that Kathleen Kennedy knows what she's doing. She knows exactly what's going to come out of this. She knows that she is indeed responsible, but it just seems like that she does not care. Now, when you look at the Acolyte series, it is going to be based at the very end of the High Republic era, roughly 60 to 80 years before Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Now, Leslie and Kathleen, we already know that they will be providing a handful of retcons and a lot of resets to The Phantom Menace in this show. That's going to be quite concerning to a lot of the hardcore fans out there that really are very protective over the lore by George Lucas and what he had created with the prequel trilogy movies. Now, this big move, this big change by Kathleen Kennedy to rename the Force itself and to give it an entirely new name, if that makes sense, I'm not quite sure how a lot of fans are going to take this. I mean, it's easy to say that, yes, a lot of fans are going to be very angered over it, and a lot of fans are going to have a lot of issues with this, but on the other end of things here, it really does make you wonder, what is really going to come out of this? What is really going to benefit Kathleen Kennedy out of renaming the Force? I never understood, specific decisions like this that Kathleen Kennedy does. let's not forget and make no mistake that truly with The Last Jedi, it was really Kathleen Kennedy's idea to really push forward with Luke Skywalker being the way that he was, generally speaking at least, in The Last Jedi, and giving it to Rian Johnson to handle all of that and to write it in his own way. But they both did a terrible job on the movie in their own different ways. I will hand them that. You know, if you look at The Last Jedi, it is labeled as the worst Star Wars film, and that's what most Star Wars fans would easily say. Some of you guys out there may disagree. But I digress. Let's move on. So, on top of this, alright, Kennedy is set to unveil the new name of the Force in the Acolyte series toward the middle of the show, and that it is going to change how fans view the power of the Force and everything it impacts on living things. Kennedy and Leslie are said to be reconstructing how the Force works by not only giving it a new name, but also retelling of how its power is born and works on living things. This could very well have to do with them resetting the concept of midichlorians that George Lucas introduced in Episode 1. This major decision by Kathleen Kennedy was in the cards for over 1 year, since before the Acolyte was even officially announced. However, it has now been finalized in the script, and is moving forward into the Acolyte show once it actually begins filming, which is still on track for April so far, as long as she does not fail or fall into further creative differences. So, here's the other thing about this, alright? Is that what Kathleen Kennedy seems to be doing as well is that she's going to be resetting the concept of midichlorians, right? Something that I believe that part a lot of fans won't really mind or have a lot of big issues over. The thing that a lot of fans are really going to have big problems over, though, is renaming the Force and really kind of approaching it in a different way. This kind of reminds me of what Kathleen Kennedy wanted to do in, of course, the High Republic era, that thankfully it did not fall through, it did not happen. Originally for the High Republic, Kathleen Kennedy wanted to give the Force a consciousness. She wanted to make the Force an actual thing, like an actual being, if you will, that had thought processes, or had a consciousness and was able to think for itself. Kathleen Kennedy is a person that actually wanted to do something so crazy like that it just comes off as outlandish to the max. So, moving on forward from all of this, alright? Now, Kathleen Kennedy is all set and ready to rename the Force, and is something that she has wanted to do with Rian Johnson in his Star Wars trilogy. However, since his trilogy was cancelled, that left Kennedy with the Acolyte as her only option to do something so sudden and so bold that she believes that this will spawn a new generation of fans. The story of the Force in the Acolyte is set to unveil what it's really called and how it's going to be used as a tool in the Acolyte series of resetting the entire philosophy of George Lucas and his creation of the Force as a power. This is something that Lucas is not happy about behind the scenes, and even tried to ask Kennedy to not move forward with this idea in the Acolyte series. It's something that Lucas is very upset over right now, and Kennedy believes that it is the right choice in order to evolve Star Wars and to move away from the familiar aspects of the brand entirely. So, let me know what you guys have to say about all of this below in the comments, because it is a very interesting subject. Is it a subject that I agree with? Absolutely not, but interesting nonetheless. I really don't know how this is going to work in Kathleen Kennedy's favor. It's just hurting herself, it's hurting the Acolyte series. It's not going to end well in 2023. So overall, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.